There comes a time in life when you realize that not every battle needs your sword. Some battles are won by silence, by patience, and by the strength to walk your own path without explaining yourself to the world. Every day we are surrounded by noise. People talking about what we should do, how we should live, what we should become. Opinions travel faster than understanding. But amidst that noise, there's a rare kind of person, the one who stays silent, focused, and steady. That person doesn't chase validation. He builds himself quietly, and when he finally speaks, the world listens. Silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's the choice to save your energy for creation, not confrontation. When you stop reacting to every distraction, you begin to direct your energy towards something meaningful, yourself. Most people lose focus because they are too busy observing others. They compare, they compete, they complain. But the truth is, your greatest competition is the person you were yesterday. Focus only on yourself. Don't waste your time proving your worth to people who don't understand your vision. Your focus is your foundation. When you pour your effort into self-growth, even the smallest steps lead to transformation. Great things are not achieved by those who speak loudly, but by those who work silently. Look at the lives of people who truly built something extraordinary. They were not talking about their plans, they were acting on them. Their silence wasn't emptiness, it was concentration. Their focus wasn't isolation, it was dedication. When you focus only on yourself, you stop measuring your success with someone else's ruler. You begin to understand that your timing, your journey, your results, all are uniquely yours. Remember this, people will always talk. Sometimes they will doubt you, sometimes they will criticize you, and sometimes they will try to pull you down. But none of that can stop a person who is focused inward and calm in silence. Let them talk, let them assume. The noise around you fades when your purpose is louder inside you. Silence allows you to listen, not to others, but to yourself. It gives you space to understand your thoughts, your mistakes, and your vision. The more you listen to yourself, the more aligned you become with your goals. Self-growth requires solitude, and solitude gives you strength. So don't announce your next step. Don't argue to prove your worth. Don't chase people's attention. Instead, channel your energy into building. Let your actions be your language and your results your voice. One day, those who doubted you will be silent, not because you silenced them with words, but because your success spoke louder than anything you could ever say. Remember, focus is not about ignoring others. It's about prioritizing yourself. Silence is not about hiding. It's about preparing. Together, they become a force that creates leaders, innovators, and visionaries. Work in silence, build in silence, and when the time comes, let your success make the noise. Silence is often misunderstood. Many people see it as a sign of weakness, of being afraid to speak, or of not knowing what to say. But in truth, silence is one of the most powerful qualities a person can possess. It is not about the absence of words, but the presence of strength. In a world where everyone is shouting to be heard, the one who stays calm and silent holds a power that others can only guess at. Silence is not passive, it is deeply active. It means you are in control of yourself, your emotions, and your energy. When you choose silence, you choose mastery. You choose to act instead of react. You choose to build rather than to break. In today's time, people are driven by the need to respond instantly. Every small disagreement turns into an argument. Every little success becomes a social announcement. But those who understand the value of silence know that peace is more valuable than proving a point. The one who can remain silent in chaos, who can listen when others shout, who can stay calm when provoked, such a person is unshakable. Their silence speaks of maturity and patience. It shows that they do not need validation to know their worth. Silence gives you time to think. When you are quiet, your mind becomes clear. You begin to see what truly matters and what does not. Noise distracts, but silence directs. It helps you separate your emotions from your decisions. Many great mistakes are made in anger, and many opportunities are lost because of words spoken too quickly. But when you stay silent, you give yourself the gift of time. Time to reflect, to understand, and to respond wisely instead of emotionally. Silence also protects your energy. Words are powerful. They carry emotion, intent, and consequence. Every time you engage in unnecessary arguments or gossip, you waste your energy on things that do not serve your growth. When you remain silent, you preserve your energy for actions that truly matter. Your silence becomes your shield against negativity. It prevents you from being dragged into the noise of others. You stop explaining yourself to those who are determined not to understand you. And in that calm, you discover an inner strength that no one can shake. There's another kind of silence that is even more powerful, the silence that comes with confidence. When you are confident in who you are, you don't need to explain or defend yourself. You don't need to speak loudly to be noticed. People who constantly talk about themselves or their achievements often do so because they fear being forgotten. But those who are truly secure in themselves don't seek attention. They attract it naturally through the quiet strength of their presence and the steady proof of their work. Silence, in that sense, becomes the mark of self-assurance. Silence is also the space where creativity and wisdom grow. Some of the best decisions, inventions, and ideas are born not in noise, but in stillness. When you withdraw from the chatter of the world and listen to your own thoughts, you begin to hear the voice of your intuition. You begin to notice the quiet guidance that has always been there. Great minds and strong leaders have always understood this truth. Silence is the workshop of clarity. When you are silent, you hear what others miss, you see what others overlook. And yet, silence doesn't mean inaction. It means focused action. It is about doing more and speaking less. The most successful people don't talk about what they are going to do, they do it. They don't argue about their plans, they build them. Their silence doesn't mean they don't care. It means they care too much to waste time explaining. They let their results speak for them. The world often mistakes their quietness for absence. But when their work is revealed, everyone realizes that they were not absent at all. They were deeply present, working, growing, and creating in silence. Sometimes silence is also a sign of emotional intelligence. You may have every reason to respond with anger, to defend yourself, or to prove someone wrong. But silence in those moments shows true strength. It means you are above the situation, not beneath it. You understand that responding to every insult or misunderstanding doesn't make you stronger. It makes you smaller. The person who can stay silent in the face of provocation is the person who truly controls the situation. In relationships, silence can heal what words can destroy. Sometimes the best response to negativity or misunderstanding is not another argument, but quiet understanding. When you listen instead of speaking, you give space for truth to emerge. Silence creates room for empathy. It allows others to feel heard. It brings peace where noise only brings chaos. In the end, silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of purpose. It is the space between thoughts where strength, wisdom, and vision grow. When you learn to stay silent, you stop being affected by the noise around you. You begin to live from within, guided by clarity and peace. Silence is the sign of inner power. It is the art of knowing that you don't have to say everything to be understood. You don't have to fight every battle to win. And you don't have to shout to be heard. The next time you feel the urge to respond to every word or defend every opinion, take a breath and remember, silence is your strength. The loud may seem strong, but the silent are the ones who truly endure. Because silence is not about retreat, it is about control. It is the calm before the victory. Focus is a force that can transform an ordinary life into an extraordinary one. When a person learns to direct all their energy toward a single purpose, something powerful begins to happen. The world around them might still be the same, but the way they see it changes completely. Focus is not just about paying attention. It is about filtering out everything that does not matter. It is about knowing what deserves your time and what doesn't. The truth is, most people don't fail because they lack talent or opportunity. They fail because they are distracted. They spread themselves too thin, chasing everything at once, and end up achieving nothing with depth. But when you decide to focus only on yourself and your goals, you turn your mind into a lens, clear, sharp, and capable of cutting through confusion. Focus transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. It's like sunlight. When sunlight spreads in all directions, it warms. But when you concentrate it through a magnifying glass, it burns. That is the power of focus. When you channel your thoughts, your time, and your energy towards something meaningful, you ignite your potential. Success is not about doing everything. It's about doing one thing with full dedication. When you focus deeply on improving yourself, your abilities begin to expand in ways you never imagined. The world today is designed to distract you. Every notification, every opinion, every comparison steals a little bit of your attention. It pulls you away from your purpose and scatters your mind. The more scattered your focus, the weaker your results. But when you stop paying attention to what others are doing and start investing that attention in yourself, you gain clarity. You begin to understand that the only person you truly need to compete with is the one you were yesterday. That competition between your past self and your present self is the only race worth running. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean ignoring others. It means refusing to let their opinions define your direction. It means understanding that your path is different, your pace is different, and your purpose is different. You may see others succeeding faster, speaking louder, or shining brighter, but that doesn't mean you are behind. Growth happens quietly and gradually. A tree does not compare itself to the one next to it. It simply grows toward the sun at its own speed. Focus gives you that patience. It keeps you grounded when everyone else is rushing. When you truly focus on yourself, your goals become clearer. You begin to see what you want, not what others expect you to want. You stop wasting time on things that don't align with your vision. You stop chasing approval, and instead, you start chasing progress. Every day becomes an opportunity to become slightly better than the day before. That's how real success happens, not through sudden luck, but through small, consistent effort made in full focus. Focus also teaches discipline. When you decide to improve yourself, you face distractions, doubts, and temptations every day. Focus helps you say no to all of them. It reminds you of your purpose when the path gets tough. It keeps you working when others give up. Most people lose momentum because they can't stay consistent. They start strong but quit when results don't show immediately. But those who have true focus understand that progress takes time. They stay patient, they keep moving, and they trust the process. There's something very peaceful about living with focus. When you're not constantly comparing your life to others, you stop feeling restless. You stop needing to prove yourself all the time. Instead, you begin to enjoy your journey. You start finding happiness in growth, not in approval. Focus shifts your attention from the outside world to your inner world. It makes you realize that happiness and success were never meant to be found in the opinions of others. They were meant to be built within yourself. Think of every great achievement in history. Behind every invention, discovery, or masterpiece, there was someone who chose to focus. They ignored the noise of doubt and fear, and they kept their eyes on their goal. They were not chasing applause or fame, they were chasing excellence. And excellence is the reward of focus. When you give your full attention to something, you create quality. When you create quality, success follows naturally. Focus is also a form of respect. Respect for your own potential. It means you value your time and your abilities enough to use them wisely. When you waste your focus on gossip, on fear, or on competing with others, you are giving away your power. But when you direct that same energy toward learning, improving, and creating, you reclaim your power. The results may not come overnight, but they will come. The world always rewards those who stay consistent and focused long after everyone else has given up. The truth is, your mind is like a garden. Whatever you focus on grows. If you focus on problems, they multiply. If you focus on growth, it expands. If you focus on negativity, it drains you. If you focus on purpose, it strengthens you. The choice is always yours. Focus is the invisible bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's what turns dreams into plans and plans into achievements. So keep your focus where it matters, on yourself, on your goals, and on your growth. Don't waste it trying to please everyone or explain your journey to those who can't see your vision. Protect your focus like it's your most valuable possession, because it is. It's the one thing that can turn your life around completely. When you learn to focus only on yourself, you stop being a follower of noise and become the creator of your destiny. That's how ordinary people become extraordinary, not by chance, but by focus. In every generation, there are two kinds of people, those who talk and those who act. The world is full of voices that promise, announce, and claim, but very few hands that actually build. It's easy to speak about dreams. It's difficult to turn them into reality. Those who truly make a difference in life are the ones who understand that work speaks louder than words. They don't waste energy on convincing others of their worth. They prove it silently through consistent action. The ones who spend their time talking about what they will do are often too distracted to actually do it. But the doers, the ones who stay silent and work behind the scenes, eventually rise above the noise, because results have a voice that can't be ignored. We live in an age where everyone wants to be seen, heard, and noticed. People announce every plan before it begins and celebrate every small step as if it's the final victory. But when your energy is spent on seeking attention, little is left for actual progress. Talking gives a temporary satisfaction. It makes you feel as though you've already achieved something. But true progress doesn't come from talking, it comes from doing. The people who change the world don't tell you what they're going to do, they show you what they've done. That is the difference between dreamers and doers. When you choose to work silently, you free yourself from the pressure of others' expectations. You no longer have to explain why you're doing what you're doing or prove that you're on the right path. You are guided by your own purpose, not by the opinions of the crowd. Silence gives you focus. It allows you to build without interference, to correct your mistakes without judgment, and to grow without comparison. The more you talk, the more you expose your plans to criticism, envy, and distraction. But when you stay silent, your goals remain protected, and your progress becomes unstoppable. The loudest people in the room are rarely the most capable. The truly skilled, the truly confident, don't feel the need to announce their value. They let their work speak for them. There is a quiet dignity in letting your achievements reveal your strength. When people see your results, they automatically understand your capability. You don't have to explain it, defend it, or advertise it. That's why silence and work go hand in hand. They both express strength without words. Being a doer also means accepting that success takes time. Those who talk often want quick results. They seek validation now. But those who work in silence know that real growth is slow, steady, and sometimes unseen for a long time. They are not chasing applause, they are building foundations. They understand that the process is just as important as the outcome. The doer works day after day, quietly improving, learning, and evolving, until one day the results speak so loudly that no one can ignore them. There is also wisdom in staying silent while working. Talking about your plans too early can create a false sense of achievement. The brain begins to feel as if the goal is already accomplished, reducing the motivation to actually do it. Silence keeps you hungry. It keeps you humble. It keeps the fire of ambition alive. When no one knows what you're planning, you're free to surprise them with your results. Silence becomes your secret advantage. People often confuse silence with invisibility, but silence is not about hiding. It's about building strength privately. The ones who talk too much about their dreams often attract unnecessary judgment or jealousy, while the quiet ones are underestimated, and that's their power. The underestimated person can work freely, without pressure or distraction, until the day they emerge with something remarkable. The world then wonders how it happened so suddenly, not realizing it was years of silent effort finally visible. Every great success story is filled with long periods of quiet work. Before the applause, there was isolation. Before recognition, there was rejection. Before the noise of success, there was the silence of effort. The people who achieve greatness are those who didn't give up during those quiet times when no one was watching, no one was praising, and no one believed in them. They stayed consistent, disciplined, and humble. That's what separates them from those who merely talk. The difference between talkers and doers is also a difference in mindset. Talkers seek validation from others. Doers seek satisfaction from themselves. Talkers want to be seen. Doers want to become better. Talkers chase attention. Doers chase excellence. And in the end, the world only remembers those who delivered results. No one remembers the one who spoke loudly but did nothing. Everyone remembers the one who worked silently and achieved everything. When you stay silent and focus on your work, people might underestimate you at first, but that's okay. Let them. Their doubt is your motivation. Their noise is your silence. Keep moving forward quietly. Every effort you make, every small win you earn, every late night you spend building yourself, it all adds up. One day, when your results speak for themselves, the same people who overlooked you will start to ask how you did it. And you won't need to answer. Your work will speak the truth. So don't waste your time explaining your dreams or defending your choices. Don't let the noise of talkers distract you from your purpose. Keep your head down, stay humble, and work hard. Let your actions tell your story. Remember, the loudest words mean nothing if they aren't backed by results, but the quietest effort can echo forever. People talk, but doers work, and in the end, it's always the doers who change the world. Growth is one of the most personal journeys a human being can experience, and it can never be achieved in noise. True growth requires solitude. It happens quietly within the mind and heart of a person who is willing to look inward and confront themselves. Most people think that growth comes from external change, new experiences, relationships, or opportunities, but the deepest growth begins when you are alone with your thoughts. It is in silence, away from the world's distractions, that you start to understand who you are, what you want, and what you need to become. Solitude gives you the space to listen to your own voice instead of being drowned out by the opinions of others. We live in a world that constantly demands attention. Every sound, every notification, every conversation pulls you outward. You are encouraged to be everywhere, to do everything, to stay connected all the time. But what people often forget is that being constantly connected to the world disconnects you from yourself. When you are always surrounded by noise, you can't hear your own thoughts clearly. You start to live according to others' expectations, others' timelines, others' dreams. You lose the ability to reflect, and without reflection, there can be no real growth. Solitude is not loneliness, it is the opportunity to reconnect with your inner self. In silence, you begin to see your life with clarity. You can look at your mistakes without judgment, your fears without shame, and your goals without confusion. You realize what truly matters and what doesn't. You begin to separate what you genuinely want from what society tells you to want. This self-awareness is the foundation of growth. You can't improve yourself if you don't understand yourself. When you spend time alone, you start noticing patterns in your thinking, your habits, and your emotions. You learn where your weaknesses lie and where your strengths shine. Solitude gives you the honesty that the world rarely offers. Growth also requires courage, the courage to face your flaws and accept your imperfections. When you are always surrounded by people, it's easy to hide behind their opinions and avoid uncomfortable truths. But when you are alone, there is no one to distract you from yourself. Solitude forces you to confront what you've been avoiding. It's in those quiet moments that you start building emotional strength. You learn patience, discipline, and acceptance. You stop running away from pain and start transforming it into wisdom. Silence doesn't just help you grow, it heals you. Self-growth through solitude also teaches independence. It makes you realize that happiness and peace are not things others can give you, they are things you must create within yourself. When you can enjoy your own company, you no longer depend on others for validation. You become emotionally self-sufficient. You stop seeking approval and start seeking purpose. You stop waiting for people to understand your journey because you understand it yourself. That inner independence makes you stronger, calmer, and more focused. In solitude, creativity also blossoms. Many of the world's greatest thinkers, writers, and leaders spent long periods alone, not because they disliked people, but because they needed silence to think deeply. When you are alone, your mind is free to explore new ideas without judgment or interruption. You connect more deeply with your imagination and intuition. You begin to find solutions to problems that once seemed impossible. Solitude sharpens the mind and softens the heart. It teaches you to think clearly and feel deeply. There is also a kind of spiritual growth that happens only in silence. When you slow down and quiet your surroundings, you become aware of the present moment. You start noticing the beauty in small things, a breath of fresh air, the sound of the wind, the calm of your heartbeat. You begin to feel grateful for life itself. This awareness brings peace, and peace brings balance. When you are balanced inside, no amount of external chaos can shake you. That is the kind of inner stability that solitude builds. However, solitude is not easy. It can be uncomfortable at first because it exposes your thoughts and insecurities. It makes you realize how much noise you've used to escape your own mind. But once you learn to sit with that silence, it becomes your greatest teacher. It shows you that you are capable of more than you thought, that you can survive without constant reassurance, and that you can create strength from stillness. Every moment spent in solitude adds a layer of depth to your character. It makes you wiser, calmer, and more grounded. Growth doesn't happen when you are trying to impress others. It happens when you stop performing and start becoming. You can't grow while constantly reacting to the world around you. You need stillness to grow roots. Think of a seed buried deep in the soil. It doesn't make noise, it doesn't seek attention, but in that darkness and isolation, it transforms. It breaks open, grows roots, and prepares to rise. Human growth is much the same. You must go through silent seasons of solitude to build the foundation for your future. So, embrace the quiet moments in your life. Don't run from solitude, use it. Let it guide you, teach you, and transform you. Spend time alone, not to escape the world, but to understand yourself better so that when you return to the world, you return stronger, wiser, and more centered. True growth doesn't need an audience. It only needs your attention. The world may see your success later, but the real transformation will always happen in silence. There is a certain kind of power that comes when you stop talking about your plans and start showing results. Actions have a language of their own, one that doesn't need explanation, validation, or applause. When you let your actions speak louder than your words, you earn respect that no speech can ever achieve. Words can be forgotten, questioned, or doubted, but actions leave a mark that stays. They prove what you truly stand for. Anyone can say they will achieve something, but only those who act with consistency and discipline actually do. The difference between promises and progress lies in what you do when no one is watching. We live in a time when many people are obsessed with appearances. They talk about goals, share their plans, and seek recognition long before they've achieved anything. But real strength doesn't come from talking about greatness. It comes from quietly building it. Every time you act instead of speak, you gain more control over your destiny. You stop wasting energy on convincing others and start using that energy to create change. People may not notice your effort right away, but when the results arrive, they speak with undeniable clarity. Actions don't just communicate, they define character. A person who keeps their word through consistent effort earns trust and credibility. You can tell a lot about someone by what they do when they think no one will know. True leaders, innovators, and builders rarely talk about how great they are. They're too busy working. Their silence isn't emptiness, it's filled with purpose. When you focus on action, your words become fewer but more meaningful. You don't need to announce your every step because your results will make people pay attention naturally. There's also wisdom in not revealing everything you're doing. When you tell the world your plans before they're complete, you invite distraction and sometimes even resistance. People may doubt you, question you, or discourage you without understanding your vision. But when you work silently, you move freely. You have space to fail, adjust, and grow without judgment. Then, when your work is done, the impact of your results speaks for itself. People may be surprised, even amazed, but they will respect your journey because you didn't just talk, you proved. Actions are also the most honest reflection of intent. Words can be shaped, polished, or exaggerated, but actions never lie. If you want to know what someone truly values, look at what they do repeatedly, not what they say occasionally. It's easy to make promises in moments of inspiration, but discipline comes from daily commitment. Every small step you take, every hour you dedicate, every sacrifice you make, these are the actions that build a foundation for success. They may seem invisible at first, but over time, they accumulate and become visible results. Letting your actions speak louder than your words also teaches humility. You no longer need to prove yourself through speech. You become comfortable with patience, understanding that true success doesn't need constant attention. When people see your results, they will draw their own conclusions, and those conclusions will be far more powerful than anything you could say. Quiet workers earn respect not because they demand it, but because they deserve it. Their humility makes their success even more admirable. Actions also inspire others more than words ever could. You can tell people to work hard, to stay disciplined, or to believe in themselves. But if you embody those values through your actions, you give them proof that it's possible. People follow examples, not instructions. When you stay consistent in your actions, you silently motivate those around you to rise higher. Your behavior becomes your message. Your results become your influence. And that kind of influence lasts longer than any speech or statement. The beauty of letting action speak is that it gives you peace. You no longer waste energy defending yourself, explaining your vision, or seeking approval. You learn to trust the process and stay focused on your path. You understand that recognition will come when it's meant to. You stop being impatient for results because you know that consistent action will always bring rewards. This quiet confidence makes you strong, calm, and unshakable. Remember, the world respects doers, not talkers. People may forget what you said, but they will never forget what you accomplished. Every successful person has had moments where they could have talked about their goals, but chose instead to work on them. Every great legacy was built not on promises, but on actions. The results spoke so powerfully that they echoed across generations. That is the power of silent action. It creates a voice that never fades. So whatever your dream is, stop announcing it and start acting on it. Don't tell people how hard you're working. Show them through what you achieve. Don't argue with those who doubt you. Let your success silence them. Every hour of effort, every disciplined habit, every unseen moment of hard work is a statement stronger than any words you could speak. Let your results tell your story. Let your actions be your voice. Because when you act with purpose, consistency, and integrity, you won't need to speak to be heard. The world will listen on its own.